Okay, let's do a quick damage card application example. So we've got a real simple engagement here. We've got a US bazooka team with a little bit of cover from the house that they're occupying, and a German Panzer IV rolling up the street. So let's just say that this engagement occurs and the two are firing at each other, the Panzer IV firing at the house itself, trying to destroy the house, and the bazooka team firing out toward the Panzer IV, of course. So real simple engagement. I'm going to show you how it plays out if the bazooka team were to damage the Panzer IV and what you do. So again, using the cards from Spearpoint 1943 works very similar. Combat is very similar. We do check a couple of additional things, which we'll talk about later, like line of sight and range. So let's say that the bazooka team gets the first shot off, and he needs a 9 or better, as you can see here, firing against tanks. He needs a 9 or better on 2d10, firing his launcher. And so we're going to roll that and see what we get. So there is a 9, and that is a hit. So now we determined that we've got to figure out what damage he's done. So we look at the rating of the weapon called damage index. So you can see that right here is a 6. So we're going to take 6 points of damage and add that to 1d10. This is how well placed the shot was. This is intensity. 10 is a very good hit. 10 is added to 6, that's 16. 16 total points of damage would normally take out this Panzer IV, which only has an 11 endurance. However, it is armored. So you take the 6 off of that, and what do you have left? You have 10 left. So 10 points of damage, a very good hit, goes right through the armor to the Panzer IV, his endurance state itself. So he only has 11, 10 takes him down to 1. That means he's barely surviving. We do mark that in case there's any other attacks with a temporary damage counter, showing that he is at 1. And now what happens? Well, we pass this half breakpoint. This is a critical breakpoint for the Panzer IV. It's different for every unit, but this one is 6. We're down to 1, so we're past that. So what does that mean? It means you have to draw a damage card. So again, just like the basic Spearpoint game, you draw a damage card. This damage card has 4 different effects, 1 per unit type, whether it's an infantry or vehicle tank, gun, or aircraft. So you draw the card off the top, which is a common deck, and you look at the vehicle effect. In this case, you can tell it's a vehicle effect right there with the icon. Crew casualty, no attack with first weapon of crewed unit. Okay, so that's not so good for the Panzer IV, and what we've just done is determined that that Panzer IV attack is not going to happen. So we apply the damage card just like this by tucking it underneath the actual unit. And that reminds us that the first listed weapon in this case is not able to be used. He can still use his MG34 secondary weapon, however, he won't be able to use that against this particular house because it's impenetrable except against large tank guns. So that attack has just gone away from the Panzer IV back to the bazooka, all because of the damage effect. Now, each of these damage effect cards have a lot of different ways they can provide damage to infantry and vehicles. Some things bad can happen, like the unit can fall back or become immobilized, or you can actually even lose the crew of the unit without losing the unit itself, meaning that it can be captured or recrewed later even. So anyway, that is how damage cards are applied. Again, if this was an infantry receiving damage, you would simply show the card off the top, out the top of the infantry unit, just like this. So you just tuck it underneath and you match up the effect with these icons. So that's how you apply those cards. And in this case, if it were the infantry receiving the damage, he would get additional 10 D10 damage. So that would potentially take him out. So that's how damage cards work in the game. Very similar to the basic Spearpoint 43 game. They provide you a lot of different ways to see how your units can degrade in the game under stress and under while getting hits.